This has been a tough year for everybody. First of all, there's no bringing back the over 6,600 Coloradans who we've lost to the pandemic. It's been tough for people, especially older Coloradans who've spent time away from their family and loved ones in public places. It's been tough for small businesses and restaurants. There's no fun way to get through a global pandemic. I'm proud of Colorado. We were one of the first states to end our stay-at-home period, and we have returned to a great quality of life and have a lower fatality rate than many other states. But we're always looking to figure out what are those things that we did during the pandemic that worked and can create a new normal that's even better for small businesses, for consumers. And one of those is very early on, using my emergency powers, we were able to remove the, in my mind, senseless and outdated rule that for some reason in Colorado, restaurants weren't allowed to do takeout alcohol with their takeout food. And that was a lifeline for many restaurants during the pandemic. In addition, many restaurants turned to the great outdoor dining. And for many of our mountain towns and in cities, that included communal dining areas where they're able to have seating that might serve several restaurants and giving people a choice on land that cities help develop with outdoor dining. We were able to use my emergency powers to do that too. But as Senator Priola and his fellow Republicans like to remind me, it's good that my emergency powers end, and it is. No one is more grateful for me that I won't need to be using them much going forward. But there's certain things that we did that worked, that helped restaurants, that helped consumers, that made our mountain towns even more amazing and fun for visitors from Colorado and from across the world, as well as local residents. And one of those was the outdoor communal dining. And another one is the very simple act of letting people order a drink with their dinner. So, thankfully, with the leadership of Representative Dylan Roberts and Senator Priola, along with Representative Larson and Senator Bridges, they passed a bill to effectively, I say, make this permanent. Sure, it's only 4 years, but it's going to be so popular after 4 years that it'll be, either forever or a 10-year sunset or something like that afterward. Because this is the start. This was the hardest one. I mean, it's not that there might not be some fight in 4 years, but this was the hard one. I want to thank so many folks for hosting us here in Avon. We have the Mayor of Vail, Dave Chapin, Town Manager Scott Robson, Town Clerk Tammy Nagel. We have County Commissioner Jeannie McQueenie, County Commissioner Matt Schur, Town Manager of Avon, Eric Hill, Vail Valley Partnership, Eric Williams, and of course, from our host business, we have Noah Bender and James Pavlok. Thank you for joining us, and Steve Shellman, Director of Operations. We're also joined by Scott Engelman and from the Restaurant Association, who owns restaurants in Steamboat, and the Mayor of Avon, our hometown, where we're signing this, Sarah Smith-Himes, who will speak in a moment as well. So I want to thank the sponsors because, while this should have been obvious and it should have been easy, it wasn't, and it feels good to get it done. And I think it feels particularly good that out of this horrendous year, something good can endure. Good for our small businesses, good for consumers, good for our mountain communities, good for our cities. And I'm very excited to be signing this bill today. And with that, we'll turn it over to our hometown rep, Representative Roberts.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Governor, and thanks everybody for coming to Avon today. I appreciate it. This is my hometown. I live right across the highway from here, and this is one of my favorite restaurants, so this is really exciting to be doing this here. And thanks to all the local representatives, commissioners, and town councilmen and town managers for being here. This is exciting to do this here in Eagle County. As the governor said, one of the first things that my fiance and I did when I think that first weekend of the stay-at-home order was go to Fiesta Jalisco right over there and get our regular Friday night takeout, but we were able to get a takeout margarita, and that was nice, even despite everything we were going through. And I know that after many weeks and months of the stay-at-home order going on and restaurants dealing with limited capacity, and I started talking with restaurant owners, including Jim from here at Northside and others, and they said, what's really helping us is the ability for us to sell alcohol along with our to-go food. And we know after talking to the Restaurant Association that over 90% of restaurants in the state utilize this provision that allowed them to sell to-go and delivery alcohol with their food. And a significant portion of restaurants across the state said it was the sole reason they were able to stay open during the indoor dining restrictions. So this is a policy that makes sense. It's something we should absolutely continue because we know the recovery for restaurants is going to last much longer than the emergency declaration. It's going to take many years. We saw that with the Great Recession a little over a decade ago, that restaurants recover slower than a lot of other businesses. And so this tool is crucial for them as they start to recover, because we all love our community restaurants. We love them because of the great food that they serve, but they are such important employers for our communities here in the mountains and all across the state. And then the other part of this bill, which is really exciting, will allow our towns like Vail and Avon and Steamboat and other communities across the state to continue the communal consumption areas where they can work with several businesses to create a great place for residents and tourists alike to enjoy beverages and food and really stimulate local economy. So I'm really excited that that's in this bill as well. As the governor alluded to, this was not an easy fight. We had to go through a lot of hoops down at the Capitol to get this done. There are a lot of interests when you do an alcohol bill. There is no such thing as an easy alcohol bill, but we got it done. We're here today. I want to thank my co-sponsors, Senator Priola, who's here, but also Senator Bridges and Representative Larson. This was a bipartisan bill, bipartisan support in both chambers, which is exciting. The Restaurant Association were crucial partners in this. Thank you. The Tavern League, the beer distributors, Department of Revenue, the craft brewers, and the Liquor Store Association that worked with us to find a compromise and a way forward on this bill. So I think this is a very exciting day. I'm very glad we can continue this valuable tool for businesses all across our state. When the governor signs this, we can keep this going for 4 more years, and then we'll see where we are after that. But thank you for being here, Governor. Thank you.
Yeah, this has been a really enjoyable bill and issue to work on since about March of 2020. I remember getting approached by a bar owner in my district and texting Kachina Weaver, who was in the governor's office, and so I think I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I think it got roped in, or the early executive orders are like, oh yeah, let's do that too, and so on and so forth. But started working on a draft, and then Bridges and I ran the bill that came out of the delayed session of 2020. But it technically never went in effect because we were still under the executive order of emergency powers. But I'm delighted that, again, there will be a minimum of 4 more years to let the public get used to the idea, and I really think it's a modernization of what is going on in society with Uber Eats and Grubhub, and in the Depression, a lot of innovation came out of that, and I think this pandemic will have a lot of innovation come out of it as well, such as people are comfortable with Zoom meetings now, and now they will be able to order some food in and maybe some cocktails for that late night Zoom meeting that is a new thing now. So very delighted to help restaurants and also just the citizens of Colorado have a little more flexible approach to how they go about their business if they want to dine in and have drinks at an establishment, or also have the ability to get everything delivered to their home or apartment, so on and so forth. So again, it was enjoyable bill through the session. I kind of felt like we were going to have some bumpy road in the Senate when it came out of the House, so almost unanimous. But our colleagues had a little fun there towards the end. But it's part of the process, and it's good legislation, and delighted to be a part of it, and also delighted to be able to have a good excuse to drive I-70 on a wonderful day. So my family and I spent a lot of time in the Avon area in the winter, and we will be back to this establishment next winter to maybe have some drinks and for sure some food. So thanks again.
Thank you. Scott Engelman, Restaurant Association.
Hello everyone, pleasure being here. This is a great day for the restaurant industry, and for me as a restaurant owner, it's fantastic. When the pandemic hit us last spring, it was like a ton of bricks, and everybody had to pivot and kind of get creative with what we were going to do to survive. And this bill being passed through allows us to generate another revenue stream that is absolutely necessary for many restaurants throughout the state to survive, as was mentioned before. In Steamboat Springs, where my 2 restaurants are, they actually complemented this bill by creating a entertainment district where people can exit our restaurant, or we could sell cocktails out on our property on the street, and they can consume them in a defined area. In Steamboat, it's 4 blocks by 10 blocks. It's fantastic. For farmers market Saturdays, people can come in now, grab a margarita, Bloody Mary, and walk right out and stroll around town and bring business to other businesses throughout the town. I want to really compliment our team at the CRA. As chairman of the board, I have a finger on the pulse of a lot of counties throughout the state, but I really do need to give a lot of credit to Sonia Riggs, our president and CEO, and her entire team. Molly Steineman is here, who is the head of local government affairs. Nick Hoover, who is the head of government affairs for the state. Without their perseverance and undying work, literally every day, 7 days a week, through the meat of this pandemic, we wouldn't be where we are today. They've really pushed forward and advocated strongly for the restaurant industry. And also, a shout out to the legislators who were able to pass this bill through. The government in the state of Colorado, whether it's local, county, the state in particular, has been able to pivot and provide us with opportunity to seize revenue when we desperately needed it. And now we're going to carry that through and probably bolster our P&Ls for years to come. Many thanks to Governor Polis for his team pivoting on a daily basis and shifting with the tides and getting us to where we are now. I want to thank everybody and cheers.
So, welcome to Avon. We like to say we're the heart of the valley, but the restaurants in Avon and the rest of Eagle County are the heart of our visitor economy. So, Avon used to be a great big ranch. So we don't have a cute downtown with sidewalks and flower boxes. We have lots of new development with parking lots, and so there have been 2 silver linings for us with this pandemic. The first was that being able to experiment with takeout alcohol during the pandemic showed everybody that we can do it responsibly. That you can do it responsibly and you're not going to have problems that lots of people anticipated. The second thing is that this communal dining area has been a total game changer for Avon. We have had parking lots that used to look like parking lots, and now you think you're you're walking down the streets of some adorable town in Europe or even Vail. So for us, that has been a tremendous, tremendous game changer, and we really hope it will go on forever and ever and ever. We are very, very grateful for our hometown representative, Dylan Roberts. Last Mother's Day, my 20-something-year-old sons and I went out for a hike, and then we came back and we realized we could go and get some food and some drinks, and so we went over, we bought Bloody Marys and takeout food, and we sat on a curb in the parking lot because they hadn't quite gotten around to the tables and the tents and stuff, and we were sitting drinking Bloody Marys on Mother's Day and just having the most incredible time. And last weekend we go out, same situation, but now there are visitors and there are locals, and it's an incredible change in the dynamic for our town. So we hope that it will move forward forever and ever, and we are grateful to all of the work that all of you did to make it happen. So come back to Avon, sit in the parking lot with us, and raise a glass to everyone that made this happen. So thanks very much.
Let's sign the bill and make it law. It's officially the law of Colorado.
I'll give Bridges his pen if you entrust it to
Which one? This is for Bridges. You'll see him. Okay, Bridges, and then who's the other one?
So it's Larson.